Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is a very, very, very special Shabbat, and I want to thank you, ladies, for putting this all together. You have given us memories that we will have for a very, very long time to come. Thank you. I'm humbled every time I'm asked to speak to you guys, because when I'm here on the Bima, I always think to myself, what am I supposed to say? What are we supposed to learn together? What are we supposed to feel together? What will I say to you that will stay beyond a discussion at Kiddush? Traditionally, I've used the Torah portion as my guide. And like a little bat mitzvah student, I secretly pray for a story or parsha that we are all familiar with. One can hope. So, do you guys know the line in the beginning of Fiddler on the Roof when they go to the rabbi of Anatevka and they say, "Rabbi, is there a blessing for the czar?" And they think, and the rabbi thinks, and he says, "May God keep the czar far away from us." That's kind of like this parsha. That's probably how I would characterize Tazria Mitzorah. Skin diseases, lesions, isolation, impurity. May God keep these things far away from us. You couldn't give me an easier one. How is it that I'm supposed to find inspiration in these words? Is it possible for us to find spirituality? Is it possible for us to find connection to Hashem in these words? It took me a while, but I did. What I found was actually profoundly beautiful. A blueprint for how to navigate life's ups and downs. A blueprint for how a community supports and allows for healing when we need it most. When our scars are grossly visible and when our scars are completely hidden. At first glance, Tazria Mitzorah might seem like an unusual place to find inspiration. It takes the beautiful moment of giving birth and it says, when a woman gives birth and bears a male, she should be impure for 7 days and shall remain in the blood of purification for 33 days. And as we learned last night, double the amount if you have the girl. To clarify, a mother is not really supposed to leave her house and not go into a sanctuary. Almost instinctively, our bodies as women stiffen when we hear the word impure. Because admit it, ladies, if you've gone through birth, after birth, you feel like a superwoman. You are Wonder Woman. You are a goddess. You're exhausted, but you're invincible. What do you mean calling us impure? That word automatically hits some sort of nerve. In our modern ears, it sounds like a judgment, like a punishment. But what if it isn't about moral failure or exclusion? And instead, let us think about the Torah is maybe telling us, pause, breathe. You just brought a soul into the world. And then I close my eyes and I truly remember those days. And I probably did need a pause. We probably all did. We live in a culture that glorifies productivity. We celebrate people who bounce back quickly. After childbirth, after illness, after heartbreak, it has become a connotation for strength. But is it really? Maybe the Torah is doing something radical for us. Maybe it is giving women the permission to pause, to recover, to acknowledge that even a beautiful, miraculous being, a new life, can be accompanied with pain, with wounds, with confusion, and with exhaustion. Think about that. The Torah doesn't say, okay, you're done, go back to work, go back to the world. It says, take your time. Let your body and your spirit replenish. This isn't punishment. This is sacred permission. Because the truth is, healing isn't just about biology. The human body is amazing, and it does that part pretty quickly. There are moments in life, like childbirth, that hold beauty and uncertainty in our bodies at the same time. Falling in love, starting something new, standing up for what we believe, even grieving someone we've lost. All of these carry both love and uncertainty. They remind us that life's most meaningful experiences are rarely clear or comfortable. Sometimes, to truly understand what they mean, we need space to be alone in our thoughts. But even in solitude, we are shaped and steadied by the quiet presence of our elders, of our friends, and of our family who guide us. We get through by pausing, by taking a breath and holding both joy and fear at once. And to learn that even if you are alone, you can feel supremely connected. Tazria tells us that healing is holy. You don't need to rush it, and you can do it alone, but don't do it lonely. In the next parsha, Mitzora, because why not give Moji two parshiot to ruminate over, we see a different kind of healing. A person with sa'arat, a skin affliction, often understood to reflect inner or communal imbalance, has to leave the village or the camp. It is a much more visible wound, and its remedy is isolation. And again, it's easy to see this as a punishment, but it's not the end of the story. We read, "The priest shall go outside the camp. If the priest sees that the affliction has been healed, the priest shall command for the one to be cleansed." Did you catch that moment? The priest isn't sitting somewhere at home saying, "Okay, enough time has passed, tell him to come home." He goes out to meet the person where they are. This is not a passive ritual. It is an act of beautiful grace. And the Torah teaches that the priest goes out not just to examine the skin, but to see the soul, to remind the person who feels cast out that they are still loved and still worthy. Here's the thing. Sometimes we need someone to teach us how to heal. Sometimes we need to tell someone it's okay to move on, not because we're weak, but because pain disorients us. It destabilizes us, and healing has never been linear. The beauty of life is that sometimes we're that person in isolation, and sometimes we're the priest. Since October 7th, something in our collective Jewish soul has cracked open. The horror of the attacks, the silence afterwards, the noise afterwards, the turning away of people we thought were our allies, our friends, and our family. It was more than a tragedy. It was a disorientation, a complete destabilization, a rupture of trust, and a deep spiritual wound. But friends, this is our tza'arat moment. Our wounds are huge and yet somehow invisible to everyone else. Despite Holocaust education, despite rational discussions, despite the facts, not because we did something wrong, but because for some reason that I still do not understand, the world has stopped seeing our pain. It's invisible to everybody, but it's very, very real. And the Torah tells us this is where we must allow the healing to begin. In the Parsha, the priest goes out. He sees the wounded and he sees the wound. He calls it what it is, and then he brings the person back in. So here's our job now, to be those priests for each other, to go out and see who's hurting, to say, I see your grief, I see your confusion, I see your exhaustion, and I'm not going to let you walk back alone. Let's do this together. Let's think about all the different ways that this is manifested. Think about the people around us that have taken on new roles. Think about the kids on college campuses and how they stand up for themselves against hatred and ignorance. We have become stronger together. This is what collective healing looks like. Because survival isn't just instinctual, it's spiritual, it's rational, it's communal, it is graceful, and it is holy. And think about how many times in our lives we've been that person on the edge, unsure if we can re-enter the world, and someone saw us, called us, sat with us. That's what it means to be a part of Klal Yisrael, the collective soul of our people. I wish for each person here that you have that person that truly sees you when you are not okay, when everyone else thinks you're fine, but you may be not. I hope that you have your priest when you need it most. I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was 16, I went to Israel for 6 weeks on a USY teen tour. For many reasons, this was a very pivotal trip in my life. I'm probably standing here today because of that trip. We were 60 kids from around the country, including 5 from Oklahoma. One of these young men was a boy named Andy Taubman. He was a little older than us and definitely a little bit more mature. You see, Andy was sent on this trip with us, even though he was older, because his father had died suddenly just a few weeks before our trip. And his mother sent him because it would be the best way for him to get his mind off of things and so that he could have a reliable minyan so that he could say Mourner's Kaddish for his dad every day, something that it was impossible for him to do in Oklahoma. And so for the first few weeks, we watched Andy stand next to the rabbi 3 times a day. We watched as he became more comfortable with the words, and as his friends, we learned when and how to respond. Then one day, we were in the holy city of Tzfat. We were supposed to meet in the lobby before sunrise to pay shacharit in a nearby park. And now I'm going to tell you something that may shock you, but probably won't. My friends and I were late that morning. Some things never change. The group left without us. The truth is, we weren't terribly disappointed until we saw Andy's face. How was he going to say Kaddish? We were only 6 people, not the required 10. We went right into the streets, looking in vain for our group. I remember the moment we all looked at each other and we looked at Andy and we said, Andy, we're going to get you a minyan. We found 2 gentlemen. 40 years ago, still. Okay, we found 2 gentlemen in that early morning light in those beautiful streets. And they said they would help us. Then we went back to the hostel and we explained the situation to the man behind the desk. And he came and he got one of the workers in the back that was supposed to clean rooms. And he came and we got our minyan. And we davened together in the lobby. I don't remember who cried more. The leaders who walked in and saw us all saying Kaddish, or us. Meet somebody in their pain and help them get back to society. Help them become whole. That is the essence of Mitzvah, and understanding that the suffering is not the end of the story, that pain and healing, those things, they come and go inside our bodies like wind. Don't cry, Jacob. We're good, I stopped. The community, whether they are teachers, leaders, family, friends, or well-meaning strangers, are always there to help us find our way back. So on this Shabbat, I bless us all with this. May we learn to pause, really pause for our own healing. Recognize when you need it and take it for yourself. To understand the difference between alone and lonely. I wish for you that you are never lonely. And may we have the courage to go out and meet someone in their pain, and may we be brave enough to walk each other into wholeness.